Hi, I'm April Dávila with Sit Right Here, and this is First Page Fridays, where we look at somebody's first page sent in anonymously. Thank you to our generous author who shared their page today. Could be a novel, short story, memoir. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. So the idea here is we're going to read it through together, all of us, and then we'll jump back up to the top and we'll start talking about what works, what could be stronger. The idea here is we're reading it not only as readers, but as like an agent or an editor at a publishing house might read it, so that you, the author, whoever you are out there, can know how it's landing. We also, the rest of us, get to learn along the way. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have a page you would like to submit, there is a link below in the show notes where you can send in your first page. We will anonymize it and put it in the list. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that when we do get to your page, you'll know all about it. All right, let's begin. As he woke, let's see, we do have a title. From the Shadows. As he woke, he looked through the near lightless gloom and could see he was chained in a prison cell, which was wide, long, and squat. The ceiling no higher than a child is tall. Uneven stonework made the walls and floor, ensuring the guests of the city's dungeons would not get a comfortable night's rest before their early morning meeting with the gallows. The cell was occupied with a dozen or so beggars, thieves, murderers, and miscreants from all walks of life, and all sat with their backs to a wall, their hands shackled and chained to the stones above their heads, a position designed to become quite painful if left in for an extended period of time. Somewhere in the back, a man was crying through heaving sobs. The only light in the cell filtered through a rusty iron grill located on the end wall at ceiling height, which just so happened to be ground level outside. The grill was located at the end of a busy market street. Stormwater runoff gushed in between its rusty bars. The dark mess, a combination of random city filth and emptied chamber pots, spilled over the corpse of a man chained to the wall below it, who had died screaming for help only hours before. The stench in there was almost unbearable. Idiot, the man thought to himself. So I'm to dance a gallows jig come morn. The thought brought a sour taste to his mouth. Best not be here then, come sunup, he finished out loud, a declaration to himself. All right, well, this is definitely an unpleasant place to be spending time. Okay, so the descriptions, first of all, very ominous. Like the writing definitely imparts the darkness, the unpleasant, the filth washing through so very effective on that front. Okay, so we get a he right up at the top here, and we're assuming this is our main character, but it doesn't sound like he's our narrator. It sounds like we have more of an omniscient style narrator. So as he woke, he looked through the near lightless gloom and could see he was chained in a prison cell, which was wide, long, and squat. I don't love the word squat, but it does the job, I suppose. The ceiling no higher than a child is tall. Okay, so let's say 4 feet tall. He woke and he looked. So there's two things. He looks through the near lightless gloom and could see he was chained. I wonder, we don't necessarily need to see that we're chained. Like a person could probably feel. But I think what you're trying to get at is he could see that he was in a prison cell. Not that he was chained so much as that this is where he's at. So you might rephrase this as he woke. As he woke, he looked through the near lightless. And again, does he have a name? It's always good to get a name, like right up front. I don't know your story, so I'm reluctant to put a name on your character, but I'm just going to say he woke, and let's say groggy from, I don't know, so it sounds like he's been there and that it's not comfortable, right? So he woke groggy from fitful sleep. Well, okay, so it also begs the question, hold on, let me just back up. As he woke, he looked through the near lightless gloom. So this is not his first look at it. I guess I'm a little confused. Like, it's kind of written as if this is his first glimpse at it. But it also, it doesn't really read down here like he's a newcomer so much. So I'm not really sure how to suggest the reframe on this, except that the first part of this definitely reads as if he's just getting his bearings. So I wonder if he is just waking up, like maybe he was knocked out and thrown in. And that's how I was understanding it until we got to the end there, when he seems to be a little more resigned, but not resigned, because he says, best not be here. This I love. Best not be here when the sun comes up. So this is the, probably, aside from these wonderful descriptions, this is the part that hooks me as a reader, right? This guy is in this awful dungeon. He's going to hang when the sun comes up, right? He tells us that here. And then he's like, best not be here when the sun come up. I love this character. Right here is where I love him, because he is not accepting this. He is going to get out. I want to know how. I want to know what his plan is. I want to know if he succeeds. Like, this is the part here that makes me turn the page, right? As much as I am also loving these descriptions, this is the part where I'm like, all right, it's an adventure. Let's do it. Up here, I think we need a little clarifying. Is he waking up having been thrown in while he was unconscious? Has he been here for several days? So as he woke, I'm going to say on his third morning in the dungeon, he looked through the near lightless gloom. Yeah, see, but then this is all written as if it's kind of, he's new to it, right? So what does he see? He looked through the near, because we don't need that it's wide, long, and squat. We don't really need to know. It doesn't seem like. Maybe we might need to know that when it comes to his escape attempts, like the actual shape of the room. But right now, we probably don't need it yet. He looked through the near lightless gloom and at his fellow cellmates. Cellmate, like what do you, oh, sorry, a lot of typos there. Fellow cellmates. Who else is there, right? We do get the, let's see. So then you could jump straight to here. So these are details up here that you probably don't need until the escape attempt. So they could go down. This uneven stonework made the walls and floor, ensuring the guests of the city's dungeons would not get comfortable before their early meeting with the gallows. These are more general statements, and it might be more, it's not that they're not important, but like in terms of bringing the reader into the scene, I would say maybe jump to here. As he woke on his third morning in the dungeon, you might even say the city's dungeon. Maybe give the city's name, an opportunity, like, oh, not sure what happened there. Maybe give the city's name, or the opportunity too of like give his name. Andrew, Muhammad, I don't know, like whoever. He woke on his third morning in the city, like, I don't know, name of city, the Los Angeles dungeon, whatever. It's probably not Los Angeles, right? But there's some opportunity to get some names in there. And then I would stick with the specifics. So I'm going to go ahead and just like cut this. The cell was occupied. If you can always rewind the video if you want to see what I'm cutting. The cell was occupied with a dozen or so beggars, thieves, murderers, and miscreants from all walks of life, and all sat with their backs to a wall, their hands shackled and chained to the stones above their heads. A position, and so this should definitely. This is not a full sentence. Now that might be a style thing, but I feel like on the first page, it's never bad to just, clarity above all else. So I would put here a position designed to be painful. And we know that they're being left there for an extended period of time. Designed to be painful. Let's just see. This be painful. Somewhere in the back. And then new paragraph here. Somewhere in the back, a man was crying through heavy. I don't know if you cry through heavy sobs. I would say he was crying with heavy sobs, or he was, crying with, in heavy sobs, in with. Maybe the copy editors can get in the comments there. Somewhere in the back. Now that again, somewhere in a dark corner. Let's say in a dark corner, because again, we don't want to get too much into the geography of it yet. I assume we'll get into more of that when the escape attempt happens. Somewhere in a dark corner, a man was crying in heaving sobs. The only light in the cell filtered through a rusty iron grill located on the end wall at ceiling height. which just so happened to be ground level outside. I don't know, just so happened to be. How could we rephrase that? The only light in the cell filtered through a rusty iron grill located on the end wall. So I think we could do located at ground level. Located at the same level as the ground outside. The grill was located. Okay, so we've already got located at the same level as the ground outside at the end of a busy market street. So at the end of a busy market street, stormwater runoff gushed in between its rusty bars. I love that, like, the dark mess, a combination of random city filth and emptied chamber pots, spilled over the corpse. Okay, so stormwater runoff gushed in between its rusty bars, the dark mess, a combination of random city filth and empty chamber pots. So, and then there's almost like a start of another sentence here. So this is a sentence. I would put, it ran over the corpse, or it gushed is such a good word there. Gushed in between its rusty bars, the dark mess. Okay. Dripped, fell. It fell over the corpse of a man chained to the wall below it who had died screaming for help only hours before. That is horrific. Oh my God. The stench in there was almost unbearable. Idiot, the man thought to himself. So I'm to dance a gallows jig come morn. The thought brought a sour taste to his mouth. And this, so for me, when I was reading it, I was like, why the single quotations? It must be, also the quotes are different styles, but it doesn't really matter. So then I was like, okay, maybe internal thought. But then when I got to the double quotation mark, it definitely gave me pause. So you might put a period here, and he finished the thought out loud, comma, well, best not be here when the sun comes up. And, you know, it is a declaration to himself. I don't know that you need to say that it is. It definitely is. And I think it might, you know, just for clarity's sake, and again, clarity above all else, I might just do it. This isn't very nitpicky. I like an italicized, like for the internal thoughts, come morn. Doing it italicized there. The thought brought us hard. And then I would, again, clarity, period, capital T. The thought brought a sour taste to his mouth. He finished the thought. She finished the thought. He finished the idea out loud. Well, best not be here then. Best not be here then comes sun up. Best not be here then comes sun up. I'm going to put a comma there, so we get that little pause. Again, I'm a story developmental line editor, not a copy editor. So the finer nuance of does the comma go there, I'll leave it to the copy editors. So the interesting thing about this is if we go up to our word count, 197. So making the trims that we made, you've actually bought yourself another 50 words on your first page. And I would suggest you use it to tell us a little bit more about this individual, this unnamed person. You have him, we know, okay, so the way I edited it, we kind of took out the chains on his wrists. So maybe we need to put in, that's a good detail, right? And I wonder if there's a way to tell us a little bit about this character. Now, I don't know your character, so I got to just make some things up here, but just as an example, he woke, and I would love it to be a name. Marcus woke on his third morning in the dungeon. As Marcus woke on his third morning in the dungeon, he looked through the near lightless gloom at his fellow cellmates. The cell was occupied by a dozen or so beggars, thieves, murderers, and miscreants from all walks of life, and all sat with, I'm looking at this from all walks of life. There's probably no royalty in there. There are probably no dukes or duchesses. There probably are not any housewives or women at all, if I had to guess. So what if we just said the cell was occupied with a dozen or so beggars, thieves, and murderers? The specificity is good. Who, and then we'll just say who sat with their backs to let's say the wall, backs to the wall, their hands shackled and chained to the stones above their heads, a position designed to be painful. He felt the twinge in his own shoulders from having and the thick metal cuffs around his wrists dug into his skin. So giving us some of that like tactile, visceral sensation, right? Because we want to say that like he's looking around and seeing all these people with their hands shackled above their heads, and then tell us like he too was in that position. His arms are up. He felt the twinge in his own shoulders and the thick metal cuff around his wrist. And that's imperfect. You would want to fine tune it to really be him. But again, this in here is more about the environment, not about him. But down here, the man thought to himself, I wonder, could you get us any more details about, is this a big man, a small man, fat man, a skinny man, a smart man? Any details you could tell us? Maybe, does he have pale skin or dark skin? Maybe if he's been sitting in this damp, pale, dungeon, that his pale skin has turned wrinkly from the moisture. Or I mean, that doesn't really, like, he doesn't have to have pale skin to be wrinkly from moisture, but the opportunity, right, is what I'm getting at. If you describe what has been happening to his skin in this dank place, you can use the opportunity to tell us what kind of skin tone this man has. Does he have long hair that might be falling in his face, and maybe he's like trying to get it out of his mouth? Maybe he's thirsty, right? Give us a few details. And again, I'm totally making up, like this is his third day, whatever. You would have to fill it. If he hasn't eaten, like, has he had to use the bathroom? That presumably they don't get bathroom breaks. I don't know how much detail you want to go into. But since we have trimmed a little bit and you have that extra, let's see where we're at now. Yeah, so you still have like 40 words that would still fit on a first page. If 250 words is about what fits on the first page, I would use those details to give us just a hint of who this guy is. And that'll make it even more enticing because, like I said, I'm already on board with this guy. He seems like he has a sense of humor, and he knows that he's in trouble, but then he makes this resolution to like get out of here. So maybe here is where you start, like, he starts surveying it with the eye of escape, right? The ceilings were low. It was a long building with just the one grate at the end. And tell us, what does the door look like? Have him start focusing on the door. How is he going to get out of here? I definitely want to know. So great work, author. Thank you for sharing your first page with us. If this was not your page and you would like to send yours in, check out the link below. You can send your page in. We'll put it in the queue. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you see when yours comes up. Lastly, if you are working on a novel, this is what I do. I help writers fine-tune their prose so that they're really good. The story level, developmental, line edits. If this is where you're at, I'd love to work with you. Book time, and let's have a chat about it. Cheers. Happy writing, everyone. See you next Friday.